All right, I think we live everywhere. About to do another coding challenge live. I'm Kelvin, aka KG.codes, and I'm a programmer. I do coding challenges live on here sometimes. Sometimes I answer questions. Tonight, we're going to get into a coding challenge on LeetCode.com. I'm going to run through it live, explain what I'm doing, hopefully teach some stuff, hopefully learn some stuff. And hopefully it's valuable for people. I'm live on all the channels. So I'm live on Instagram, I'm live on TikTok, I'm live on Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook, and YouTube. So I'm live almost everywhere. So if you want to switch to another channel, feel free to do so. I think probably most of the viewers are probably going to come through TikTok, because TikTok just pushes people in and out the live. So I'll probably be answering questions there. So feel free to jump in, ask questions, all of that stuff. I'm gonna give it probably 30 more seconds, just to let people join if they're joining, and then I'm gonna just hop right into the coding challenge. You can see it on the screen. It's called +1. It's considered an easy on LeetCode. I don't know. I think it's pretty easy. I was able to do this one a little bit earlier without looking up the answer first, and so. I mean, maybe for me, it maybe be easier, but maybe for a beginner, it might be a little harder. But at least from LeetCode's perspective, it's considered easy, which pretty much aligns with how the industry looks at these kind of problems. So, yeah, it probably is easy. I can't see the companies because I don't have LeetCode premium. But yeah, this site is called LeetCode.com. You can go on this site and do coding challenges from easy level to hard level. And yeah, it's a tool that a lot of coders use to get jobs, because a lot of these jobs out here ask these type of coding challenge type questions where it's kind of trivia or whatever. Like they ask you a question, and you got to think about the solution, like the answer, how you want to approach it, and then you have to code the solution, and then usually you have to run the solution to see if it's working properly. So yeah, that's how it goes. I think I gave it enough time now, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and start the coding challenge now. And if people join, they can ask questions and all of that stuff. Let me make sure that I got my screens how I want to have them. All right, yeah. Push this one up a little bit. My bad. I'm just making sure I can see all the questions. If any questions come in, I can see them. All right, I think I'm good. All right, so this question is from LeetCode.com. Like I said, it's called +1. It's an easy problem, or it's considered an easy problem as far as LeetCode is concerned. And it goes as such. You are given a large integer represented as an integer array digits, where each digits at the I index is the ith digit of the integer. The digits are ordered from most significant to least significant, left to right order. So that's like a normal number. Like in a normal number, like 100, the 1 is the most significant digit and the 0 is the least significant. The large integer does not contain any leading zeros. That's good to know as a constraint. What they want you to do is increment the large integer by 1 and return a resulting array of digits. So it looks like they're just giving you a number, but as a array of digits. Instead of the number just being a single integer, they're breaking out each digit of the number into an array of digits. So if you program before, you know what an array is. That's usually a list of some sort of object. And in this case, the object is an integer and or entity. The number 123, to do that in a integer list form of each digit, you would do 1, 2, 3, and just have a list of the digits in order from most significant, the hundreds place, to least significant, that the ones place. So in this case, they basically want me to just add 1 to the integer and give them the resulting array after you add 1 to it. It seemed pretty simple. Like if you add 1 to 123, then of course you get 124. And in the form that they have it is basically I need to look at the ones place, the last integer place in the integer array, and just add 1 to it. And it's pretty simple when you think about it like that. Like 4,321, you just add 1 to it, you get 4,322, and your array should be 4, 3, 2, 2. The digits all in each, separated in the list, in the array list. But it gets a little more complicated when you have 9. So just like regular math, if you have 9 and you add 1 to it, then it goes, goes to 0 plus a carry 1. It goes to like 10, and then you carry the 1 over into the next place, the more significant place to the left, and you add 1 to that place. If you have 9 there, then you have to keep carrying that 1 down the chain until you don't, until you're able to actually place that carry 1 somewhere. So it's elementary school math here in code form. Just like a kid when you would you do addition and you have to add something, you have your you go digit by digit from right to left, from least significant to most significant, and you just add and carry over until you're done. So the problem seems pretty simple. Let's look at the constraints. Let me see. 1 digit, let's see. Yeah, so digit length is, so there always will be a digit. So the digit's length, the length of the array is always going to be greater than 1. It's going to be less than or equal to 100. So we're always going to be guaranteed to have something in the digits list. And let's see. Then, I see Miso's on TikTok. Appreciate you joining, man. Yeah, and then somebody else on TikTok, Praetorian, said as long as the last digit is a 9, it's pretty easy. Yeah, I mean it's a pretty easy problem. It might be easier than the last one I did. But if you're not used to these, and I'm sure it could be a little bit harder. So, all right. So let's see. Oh yeah, I was on the constraint. So the other constraint is, of course, the digit's gonna be 0 through 9, like. A digits place, like you got your 1 in a number, you have places. You have the ones place, the tens place, the hundreds place, but you can only have 1 digit in each of those places, which is 0 through 9. So we're guaranteed in this problem that the digits at I, like some index inside of our digits array, like either 4, 3, 2, 1 in this case, is going to be 0 through 9. So we're guaranteed that none of these are going to be 2-digit numbers. They're all going to be 1 digit, just like a real number, like the places of a real number, if that makes sense. Digits is not containing any leading zeros, because that would be weird if like this was 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of 124. So that makes sense. But they basically telling these constraints, like if you're in an interview, the interviewer might tell you the constraints, but he might not. He might or they may not. They may just give you the problem and just leave it wide open, and they expect you to ask for these sort of constraints here. Like they expect you to ask, like, hey, is it always going to be 0 through 9? Is there always guaranteed to be at least 1 digit? Like, is the digits array always going to have something in it? And is going to have leading zeros? Like, am I going to have to handle that in my solution, in my code? And so, yes, Devin, you asked if I'm streaming elsewhere. I'm streaming almost everywhere: Twitch, YouTube, any other platform, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm simultaneously streaming across all the platforms. So anybody that want to switch to another platform that's more suited to them, definitely go ahead and do that. But anyway, yeah, in the interview, they may not give you those constraints, so you're expected to ask for them. So you would read this problem. They would read the problem to you. You read it, and you would think about these. Once you code long enough, you'll start thinking about edge cases that you need to cover. And by asking the interviewer for these, he may give you some constraints that help you out, and you don't have to handle those edge cases. Like here, I know I don't have to handle an edge case if like somehow one of these numbers has 2 digits in it, because it's a constraint here. But this may be something, I'm making a point here that this may be something you actually have to ask the interviewer for. They may not just give that to you. And so, yeah, that's kind of an important thing. That LeetCode always gives you the constraints, but in a real interview, they don't really have to. They literally could just give you this. They don't even have to give you any examples, but usually in interviews, they usually give you an example, but they don't have to. So anyway, if you've seen me do these before, you know I like to kind of think through the solution beforehand. What my old teacher, my professor in college used to do is he made us do this stuff by hand. And so I kind of, if it was pen and paper, if I was in an interview in the old style where they used to bring you in for interviews on the whiteboard, you'd actually do this by hand first, like to figure out what you need to do, explain it, your approach to the, explain you walk through your understanding with the interview, and then explain your approach, that you're going to do to the interview, and even maybe like solve a version of it by hand with like pseudocode before you jump to the code. You want to make sure you got sort of a alignment with the interviewer before you just jump to code, because what that can do is that they can help lead you away from bad paths or help kind of push you toward good paths. Usually they'll help you, or they'll let you know, I think that sounds like a good solution. Like at the very least, they usually do that. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just act weird and just don't do that. But a lot of times when I give interviews, if I think your solution is sound, I'll let you go that. Or if I think it's something you should follow, I'll let you go that. Sometimes that'll be a place where I'll try to give you hints. So always be speaking out loud, and always, before you jump into a problem, talk about what you're going to do. One mistake I see people making is they read the problem, they go straight to code. They don't give the interviewer a chance to even try to help them out. They're just already coding themselves into a hole. So that's what you don't want to do, for sure. So yeah, and Code for You on 77 on TikTok said, don't just talk, show the solution on the whiteboard, like draw it out. Right, exactly. So in this case, instead of me just keep talking, I'm gonna try to jump in and show you what I'm talking about here. So in this problem, basically, like, they want us to just add 1 to whatever digits array that we have, which represents a true integer. Like this array represents the integer 123. It's just separated by a digit into a digit array. And so I know that I just need to add 1 to whatever this digit is, or this number is, and in that last place, I'll get, that number added to it, and I'll get 124. And so, this was really simple. And this is over to the code on LeetCode, how you can code out your solution. What I would do in this case for an interviewer, I would probably say, okay, I'll probably give them an example of my thought process. I know I have an array 1, 2, 3, and this thing equals 123 in like normal digit world. And I'm thinking about the case that I need to add 1 to it. And so in that case, I know I need to look at my ones place first. I know I need to look there first and add 1 to it. So in this case, I know my answer would be 1, 2, 3, 4. I know in this case it's pretty easy when I kind of write this down mentally. And let me put this up on the screen for people that may be joining. This is the problem. Put the problem up on the screen so y'all can see that. And yeah, so in this case, you would add, it's pretty simple. But let's think about the case of 9. So in that case, if I want to add 1 to 9, I know that I'm eventually want to get 10. But to add 1 to 9, I'm going to have a carryover. I know that I'm going to get 0 first, because think about when you add, like when you do normal addition, when you add a 1 in that place, in the ones place, and it goes above 9, then you have to put 0, and then you carry the 1. So in this case, I have a carry 1. So there's a carry 1 case that I need to handle in my code. So I put 0 here, and then I know I have a carry 1, and it goes here as the carry 1. So now my array actually it started as 1 digit, and it went to 2. And let's try another problem of 99. And just see what happens when you add 1 to 99. This is just how I'm talking to the interviewer. Like, these are the logical things that I need to go through in my solution. I just want to make sure that I'm doing that right. So I know here, if I add 1 to 9, I know I'm going to get 0. And then I'm going to add the 1 here. So, because I got a carry, I got 0. I added 1 to 9, and then put 0 in my ones place. And I'm actually going to move this here. Add 0 in my ones place. I know I have a carry 1. 1 plus 9 gives me another 10 with the carryover. So I got to carry another 1 over here. I don't have nothing here, but that means I need to add. So if I don't have anything, that's just 1. Just add 1 to nothing. And that gives you another 1 ahead of all your other results, which gives you 100, which is the answer that you would be looking for in basic elementary math, of course. And so basically what I'm showing here is that if whenever I see a 9, basically I know I need to set the current place to 0, and I need to carry over a 1 to the next place, and then do the addition there, add the 1 there, and see what I get there. And I might have to keep going. And when I get to the end, if I still have a carry at the end of my whole array, then I actually need to add something new, a 1, actually always a 1 to the end. Just like in normal addition, if you add 99 and you add 1 to it, you get a new digit. So that's just how, that's how math works or whatever. So, yeah, so that's basically how I would explain, my thought process. And then I would say, okay, hey, how would I do this in code? So just like I did it here, I think what I would do is, I know when I add 1, because the problem is telling me just to add 1 to the 1's place first to start. And back over here, oh yeah, my bad, I got it up here at the top. But yeah, add 1. So I know I need to start at the 1's place. So that means in my array, that means I need to add to the end of this array. Whatever the last thing in my array is my 1's place always. So I need to start at the end of this array. So if you coded a lot and you know that that you usually loop through an array from start to finish, in this case, I actually need to look at the end of the array first and then go backwards, because I need to add my 1's place here first, and then I need to go to my 10's place, and I need to go to my 100's place, and so on and so on. So now I know, I tell the interviewer, hey, I know I'm going to have to loop this this digits array. I'm going to have to loop through it backwards, because I want to start adding from right to left, just like I did my normal addition up here. And so that's how I'm basically translating what I explained to the interviewer into my strategy for the code. So I'm gonna loop my digits array, and I didn't put it here, but this would be like digits array. And then this would be like results. Like this would be like the results array. And so digits is what's getting passed in. That's what we have to work with in our problem. And so, yeah, I didn't explain, but like this is LeetCode scaffolds this out for you. I didn't do this. This is what LeetCode scaffolds out for you. I wrote this right here, but LeetCode gives you this like and usually in an interview, they'll give you like a scaffolding usually. Sometimes they don't. So you need to know how to set up a function on your own, of course. So why don't you use Python? I don't use Python. I use JavaScript. That's what I work with mostly in my day-to-day job. So whenever I'm interviewing, I'm usually using JavaScript. I'm usually going for more front-end roles. So yeah, I use JavaScript as my like interviewing language for coding challenges. But Python is great, man. Python is very good for coding challenges for sure, 100%. All right. So anyway, I know I'm telling the interviewer like, okay, I think I'm gonna loop through this backwards. When I see a 9, or when I see something less than 9, I'm just gonna simply add the number to it. So just like the example over here, if 3 is less than, if I loop backwards and start at 3 and I add my 1 to it, then I know I'm just gonna put 4 here. I'm just gonna replace the 3 with 4. I'm just gonna take the 3 and do a +1 on it and get 4, and I'm just gonna return this whole thing because I'm just gonna end at that point. At that point, if I see something less than this, I'll add the 1 and I'll just return the added result as the output. Now, in the case down here, if I see a 9, then I know I want to put 0, but I also, in that case, need to carry a 1 over at the point. I need to keep going. And even in this case over here, which is a little more complicated, is 99. If I see a 0, if I see a 9 here, I know I'm going to put the 0, carry the 1, but I also need to put another 0 here and carry the 1 again. So I know I need to keep going. I don't need to return my result until I get to the end. And even at the end, if I get to the end and I have a carry 1 without any more places in my loop here, then I know that I just need to add 1 to carry on the end of this, on the front perpended to the integer array. So let's do that. So I've talked enough about it. I think everybody understands what I'm trying to do. So I got a couple questions here. Isn't it more useful to use Python for interviewing? I wouldn't say that. I don't think that's 100% accurate. A lot of people use JavaScript for interviewing, especially if they're doing front end roles. So if like you're doing a role, if you're going for a job where it's a front end role and you're writing JavaScript in the job, you can use Python in interview, but it's probably better that you use JavaScript in the interview because that's what you're going to be working with. The interviewer wants to see how good you are with JavaScript because that's what you're using every day on the job. So you might want to, when you go for these interviews, you don't want to just blindly use Python. Like you can if you want. Like some interviewers might let you use it. They might say, hey, use whatever language you want. Some interviewers, they will kind of take off a tick if it's like, hey, this is a Java job, so you should do your coding challenge in Java. This is some jobs are Python jobs. You should use Python. Some jobs some interviewers may not care. I would suggest though that you use a language that ties to the job description in the job. So you're right in the sense that Python is great for programming interviews, but look at your goal of what job you're trying to go for. Whether you're in industry already or trying to get in, and practice problems with that language, because some interviewers will say, hey, we want you to use this. I want to see how proficient you are with this language. I know when I'm hiring for JavaScript roles, or I'm hiring for Java roles or C# roles, I want to see how well command of the language you have in that job. So just a little bit of advice there. I know some people I see some people disagree with that. Just code with whatever you're comfortable with. I would say do some more interviews and see if that goes perfectly. I know a lot of interviewers may not care. They may let you code what you're comfortable with, but I know for sure some interviewers do care because they want to know that you are proficient with the language that you're coding with every day. And so that's just my opinion. So we can agree to disagree for sure. Anyway, let's go ahead and keep going. So the first thing that I said I was going to do was loop backwards through the digits. So to do a backwards loop, this is what I want to change here too. So LeetCode put var there. I'm going to change that to const because var is going to be hoisted. var, it's a lot of arguments in the industry. You shouldn't, I guess best practice. I wouldn't say arguments in the industry. I would say just best practice not to use var in most cases. So LeetCode for some reason still use var. I'm probably just the way they had it for years. I don't know. But every time I do one of these coding challenges, somebody says, "Why are you using var on the thing?" And I'm like, "I didn't do it. Like LeetCode put that there. I didn't do that." So anyway, yeah. So I don't know. But yeah. So I don't. Everybody always says that every time I get in here. So I'm gonna change it to const. Let's see. So you need pseudocode for you proceed with a solution. Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like this one's so simple. I'm not gonna do it right now. I feel like I already explained what I was gonna do. It's pretty simple, but yeah, in a lot of cases you might want to do some pseudocode. It probably will help for sure. I'm not gonna do it in this case, but yeah, I agree with you totally there. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and start. And since I'm looping, if you know how to do a for loop with an index, typically, you would start with 0 if you want to start from the start of the array, but I want to start from the back of the array. So I actually want to look at the length of the array minus 1 to get the last index. That'll give me the ones place. So that's where I want to let my indexer start at. And then I want to, I want to keep this going while I is less than or equal to 0. Or sorry, my bad, greater than or equal to 0. And then I want to subtract from I as I go through the loop. Yep. So I think that's the for loop. Start at the last place in the array, and then I is greater than or equal to 0, and then I minus minus to, that's where I end the loop, and then I minus minus to just, subtract as this loop keeps going through. And yeah, so that's where I want to start at. And so just like I talked through earlier with the interviewer or with y'all, is I want to check. I have two cases basically, when when the digit is less than 9 and when the digit equal 9. I have two logical paths I want to go into. So let's look at, and if you don't know how to do a array accessor, this is for people that are like very, very early in their process. This is kind of how you access using an index. An array, you can access an item in an array using an index. The index starts at 0 in JavaScript at least, and my loop is what's going to keep iterating the index. And in my case, it's actually going backwards. It's like decrementing it. So you can use I to access the ith value in the digits array, at that spot that we're in currently in the loop. And so basically by accessing this whole thing gives me the value, the digit at that place. And so the first time I run through this loop, it actually give me digits length minus 1 and give me the value of the last digit, or the last digit in the array, which is my ones place in the number. And so I want to look at that and say, if it's less than 9, so this is my case. If it's less than 9, then I know that I just simply need to, just like I said in my example over here, or like I was talking about, I just want to add, like if it's 3, if it's less than 9, I just want to add 1 to whatever that digit is. And so in that case, I just want to take digits and do plus plus, which is the same thing as saying like digits at the ith place is equal to digits at the ith place plus 1. This plus plus, that's simply what it does. And then here, if I got to this point where it's less than 9 and I added my 1, I'm basically done with this problem. And so I can actually just return the digits array, and that's my result. That's my answer. And so I'm not done yet, but it's just in the form of, or I guess in my algorithm, I'm returning out because I have my answer at this place. There's no need to continue. Like this is the answer once I added that. But the thing is, I have another condition here. I can't just, return right here because it's conditional. So I have another condition here. If it does equal 9, then I have a whole nother condition that I have to basically handle there. And so, yeah, so I hope that makes sense. How to get better at doing projects from scratch. That's sort of different from this, but I mean, one thing I did when I was coming up is I did a lot of freelancing that helped me get a lot better from doing projects for scratch because I had a reason to do them. Like when you contact a business or a friend or family that needs you to do something, they give you requirements and it kind of forces you to learn. You either, use Google or these days ChatGPT or some other AI models or whatever. And yeah, so that's how I kind of learned. It kind of forced me to learn how to do projects from scratch a lot better. And then of course, AI now, you have tutorials, you have all kind of stuff like that. So yeah, so all right, so yeah, if I get for less than 9, then I want to basically add to the digits. If not, I want to return digits. Now, what if digits equals 9? So in that case, I can just do like an else. I really don't have to do an else, but I will do an else just to kind of show what's happening. But in that case, remember what I said when I was talking through my solution, my approach is that I want to set a 0 in that place in that case. So in that case, I actually want to set this equal to a 0. So so I want to set that equal to a 0 in that point, and then I know that I need to carry a 1. Well, based off my logic here, when I end out this loop and start again, I actually am carrying a 1 based off my logic. It's kind of hard to explain, but when I add the 0 here and then I end the loop and go back again to the next index, I increment or decrement the index here. I'm on the next number, and I actually will do my whole check again to see if it's a 9 or not. If it's not, then I increment again. So I'm already, as part of my logic, the first time I go through adding a 1, and because this problem is saying just increment by 1, then you're always carrying a 1, if that makes sense. So I actually don't need to do anything special here because I'm always carrying that 1 every time I loop through here, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, that's kind of what it is. Like if they ask me to add a 2, then I might actually have to like create some other variable to hold the logic that I actually need to carry 1. But in this case, the first time I come in here, I'm adding 1. If I loop again, so every time I loop, the only reason I would loop this is to carry a 1 or add a 1. So my logic is built like that. So that's just how it would work. So anyway, yeah. So I'm thinking through it. Like I come in with digits, I loop through it backwards. If it's less than a 9, then I need to just add something to it and just return it as is. If it's not less than a 9, then I need to set it to 0 and loop back through again and add another 1 to the next place because I'm decrementing down. It means I'm going to the next place, the tens place or the hundreds place, whatever the next place is to the left. And that's how you do normal addition. So what if I get out of this loop? If I get out of this loop without actually returning, that means the last thing I did was this. I added 0. That means I had a 1. And now I've run out of digits to add. And that's just like I said in this case over here. That's my last case. If I run out of spaces and I still had to carry a 1 at the front, that means I'm finished with this loop and I still have to carry a 1 right here. Then even outside of this loop, I need to add, like I said, I need to add a 1 to the front of my array. And the way you can do that in Java, there's multiple ways you can do it, but one of the ways you can do it in JavaScript is simply using the spread operator. So I can say 1, create a new array. So I can say digits is equal to a new array that has 1 at the start, and then then spread the rest of the digits over the rest of the array with these 3 dots as a spread operator in JavaScript. Basically, what it's telling to do is start my array with 1, and then spread the digits in this the items in this array over the rest of complete the array with the rest of the digits in this array, and to just set it equal to this. But I actually can just, since I'm at the end, I actually can just return that instead of doing it equal, because that's my new result. So I believe this is right. So in an interview, what you want to kind of do is make sure that you're talking through this with the interviewer. When you get to the end, you want to talk through the solution. Like you want to go back here and double check. Like I know I'm looping through here backwards. So is I what I expect? Yes, the length of digits minus 1. While I is greater than or equal to 0. Yeah, because when I go backwards and get to 0, I want to stop. But I do want to include 0. So less than or equal to 0. And then I want to make sure I'm decrementing. And I want to look at the digit at I, the digits at I, or the digit at I, yeah. If it's less than 9, then I want to simply add to it and return digits because I'm done in that case. Else, if it is equal to 9, because I do know that's where your constraints come in. I do know that it can only be, it's got to be greater than or equal. It can only be 0 through 9 based off this constraint. So I don't have to worry about any other edge case in this case. But that's something you might have to ask the interviewer for. They might say, hey, I don't know. So then you'd have to actually cover that case. And so somebody asked, do you work in tech? Yeah, I definitely work in tech. I'm been a professional software developer for about 10 years now. Yeah, so I've been doing it for a while, done these interviews before, got offers before, from small companies to like the FANG companies. So I've gotten offers from the full scale. So I am speaking from some experience, but I'm also, I don't know everything. I'm still learning. That's why I'm still doing these. That's why I do these live, so I can learn, so I can help teach people, and I can also learn too. And it also helps me kind of practice for when I do have to get back on the job market and interview. So I don't know everything, but I will say I've passed enough interviews and got enough offers to say that I somewhat know what I'm talking about in these interviews. Now, my opinions, maybe just my opinions. I know a lot of people disagree with some of the ways I like to do it, and I like to interview people, but you know, it's worked for me. It may not work in all cases, but it's worked for me in some cases. So yeah, that's a great question. Can you go over when you think you need to use a spread operator? I don't absolutely have to use it here. I could use, I think, is it splice or is it, I think it's shift. I think it's unshift. I could use JavaScript unshift. That'll allow you to actually add an item to the front of an array. Basically what I want to do is I have digits and I want to add something to the front of the digits. And so this is just spread operator, something newer in JavaScript. I think it's ECMAScript 6. It's something that's not new, but newer. And it wasn't like, 15, 20 years ago. It's like something in the newer ECMAScript versions. And it's just the easier way to do that. So, yeah. I mean, I think you would use it. I think most people would use it over other alternatives now because it is newer syntax and it looks nicer. But as far as when you would use it over other ways, I mean, it's pretty simple at what it does. It's simply a way for you to kind of spread either an array or an object and kind of like input it into another new object that you're creating. So yeah, really I think that's kind of when you would use it, and you wouldn't use it when that's not what you're trying to do. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the next thing I would do is in the interview, sometimes they will let you run your code. Sometimes some interviews I've been through, they won't let you run your code at all. And you just have written it you might be in a notepad, you might be in something, give you no syntax. So you really need to know the language you're using. So I understand, earlier somebody was really like in the comments was like really like, I want to use Python, If the interviewer lets you use Python and it's a JavaScript role, then by all means, if you're more comfortable with that, then yeah, go ahead and use it, like for sure. Because you may not have any help. And if you're not comfortable with the language, then go ahead and use it. But yeah, it's like I said, like you might want to ask the recruiter. You might want to just make sure the interviewer's cool with it. Like sometimes they're not cool with it. Like sometimes they do. Like especially front end roles. Like I've been in front end roles when it's literally a coding challenge building a web application. Like you're building literal UI or you're building some sort of web thing, and you just can't use Python. Like you have to use JavaScript because the job is they want you to use JavaScript to build some sort of like your algorithm actually is going to build some like gonna be used in some sort of web app that you're going to build inside the interview. So like in that case you can't. So it's like, and yeah, I think the dude said he was Amazon. Was weird is I literally had an Amazon interview where they made me use JavaScript. So I mean, yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So and I passed the interview. So yeah, it's like I mean I think it's just different strokes for different folks, and maybe even within Amazon, people asking different questions. Some people require and some people don't. It's probably different teams. That's a big company, so it makes sense actually. But anyway, I'm kind of going off the topic. That was a great question though. Yeah. Now I forgot what I was doing. Oh yeah, so yeah, sometimes it won't let you run the code. And I think Amazon was one of those companies that didn't let me run the code. I think I couldn't run it and I just had to explain it to them. So before I keep rambling, what you would do is, like, I think the guy was on here earlier, the guy from Amazon was saying that like you want to like write pseudocode, or you want to explain your thought process through writing it, which is, he knows what he's talking about, which was made a lot of sense. Even after I coded, if you can't run it, they want you to explain it to them. And so the way I like to do that is if I'm whiteboarding, if I'm in the building with them, then of course you do this on a whiteboard. If you're on an Zoom, like kind of like we are, then you can I kind of use comments. So what I do is I take each variable. This is my way to do it. A lot of people can do it different ways. And I think 123 was our example from over here. I just take one of the examples, and I want to make sure that even without running the code, that my code go line by line and make sure logically my code is working like I expect it to be working. And so I know I have digits. So I look at every variable I have, and I put it up here so I can keep track of it as I go through line by line and make sure I get what I'm gonna get. And so I'm actually gonna put like output here as like, it's not a variable, but that's just whatever I'm gonna return out of here. I'm just gonna say that's my output. So anyway, so let's go through it. With our input is always given by, you know, the problem. So that means the example. So in this case is 1, 2, 3. And the input is, in this case is 4, 3, 2, 1. In this case is 9. So I'm gonna use two of those examples and walk through this code because hopefully it'll be quick. So line by line, digits, I set digits to 1, 2, 3. That's our example. Line by line, I start here. The first thing happens, I get set to digits length minus 1. And here my digits length is 1, 2, 3 minus 1 gives me 2 for I. So the I equals 2. These aren't really setting anything, but I know what these do. They just help me loop backwards. And so now, oh yeah, now I can put, actually forgot about this variable, digits at I, whatever that equals at a certain time. I'm gonna put that below here actually. So that's something I need to keep. So what is digits at I? I equals 2. What's digits at? So 0, 1, 2. The value is 3. So digits at I actually equals 3 in this case. It's 3. Now I get to my if statement. It's 3. God, dog. Lose my voice. Sound crazy. Anyway, is digits at I, which is 3, because we just saw that. Is it less than 9? Yes, it's less than 9. So I can go into this if statement. I'm going to add 1 to digits at I, which is here. So I'm going to add the 1 here. So now I'm actually mutating. I'm actually changing my digits array by changing at I. I'm going to return digits immediately. I'm done with my problem at this point. And so by returning digits, the output of my problem is this: 1, 2, 4. Was that the answer we was looking for? Yep, 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4. So my code is working so far for me just talking through it. But now, yes, now what happened is the interviewer will probably say, okay, there's another case that you need to take a look at. I want to make sure it works in this case too. That's what that actually happened to me in the interview, because it's usually edge cases that your code may or may not be handling. And so in this case, I'm going to actually just erase all this stuff, and I'm going to start with a new case of 9. Like I just got one single number 9. I need to add 1 to it. And so in this case, I come here, the digits length minus 1. So digits length is 1 minus 1 to give you 0 index to start with. So what is digits at I? Digits at I, 0, 9. Gives me 9, because that's where I'm at. That's the only place I can be at. And is digits less than 9? No, it's not. So I'm going to go here, and it's telling me to actually change digits to 0. So I'm going to change digits to 0. So I'm going to mutate it. And then I'm going to come back to the top of my loop. It says, wow, since this is decrementing, I is actually getting changed to -1. And so now I'm coming out of my loop because it's saying I can only stay in this loop if I is greater than or equal to 0. So I actually fallen out of this loop very quickly because there was only one thing in here. So it's not really much of a loop. It's just one thing. You just loop one time because there's only one thing in the array. And so now I get here and it says return 1 plus a spread of the digits array. So my output actually is return 1, not plus, but like the next stuff in the array should be a spread of the digits array. The digits array is here. It's only got one thing in it, so I'll just spread it out, and that's just that 1, so I get 1, 0. That's my output, is an array of 1 and 0. And in this example, the input was 9, output was the array of 1 and 0. And so I can even go, you know, I'm gonna run the code in a minute, y'all. So just be patient with me. But this hopefully will show you kind of like this may be the interview. Like this may be all they get you to do. They may not let you run the code. So that's why I'm trying to kind of go through that as part of this. So I'm going to erase all this. I'm going to do this last manual problem. 9, 9. So we know when we get here, I equals the length. This is not 0 actually. I equals the length minus 1. The length is 2 minus 1. I'm going to start at index 1. Digits I, so that's digits at index 1, 0, 1. That gives you 9. Is, okay, we know that it's less than 9. I mean, it's not less than 9, so we're going to turn that to 0. At that place, at that index, we're going to turn it to 0. And then we're going to come back to the start of our loop. We're not done with our loop yet. So we're going to move the index. Is actually going to go down to 0 in this case because it got decremented. So the index I just changed it to 0. Then digits at I, at that point, at index 0 is actually 9. And then I get the same thing again. I got to come here because it is not less than 9. So I go into this place and I change this to 0. And then I come back here. I decrement this again. Just decrement it again, gives you -1. This loop can't continue with -1. Goes out to here. So now I need to put my output, which is always 1. And then you spread operator digits. So that means I need to spread what was in digits into this array, which would just add 0 and 0 to it from this array. Just adds it to this array and kind of has 1 in the front. And so that's how I'm carrying the 1 at the end to give me 100. So yeah, like my I made this one up myself, but the original number was 99 plus 1 gives you the answer of 100. So this solution works. This may be like getting close to the end of the interview. The last thing they will ask is time complexity. And time complexity is basically a way for us to define how our algorithm scales with time and space, as opposed, or not opposed, as it relates to the input, the size of the input. How does our algorithm scale as the input scales? And in this case, the input was, since this is an array, the input was scaled by this array being massively, like a long array. In this case, it's only 100, which is pretty low actually. Like you probably could just run any kind of algorithm on this and it would be pretty efficient because this is like extremely low. But like, what if this was 1,000,000? Like, what if we had a number that was like 1,000,000 digits long? And I guess this is actually pretty long because like a number that's 100 digits is actually like probably gonna make your language overflow or whatever. So that's probably why they have it at 100. It actually makes sense because it's digits. And so, but even when it's at 100, how does our algorithm scale? Do I do 100 operations, or do I do 100 times 100 operations? Do I do 100 times that? Like, is it exponentially scaling? Like if I have 100, does that mean it runs 1,000,000 times? If I have 1, it runs 100,000 times. So that is basically big O notation is what it's called. It's a way to notate or a way to describe the time complexity and or space complexity of your algorithm. And usually in an interview, the interviewer wants you to they at least want you to describe it or what the time complexity is. And then sometimes they actually want you to hit a certain standard of time complexity. So like big O of n actually means linear time. That means whatever the size of my input was, that's how many operations at scale that I'm doing. And where n is the size of your input, which in this case would be the length of the digits. And so in this case, I'm just thinking about, and big O notation is a whole nother thing. It's like, I'm not going to try to teach that whole thing here. But in this case, the thing that's scaling here, like as far as the input, is the length of these digits. That could be 1. It could be 1 digit. It could be 100 digits. Because that's what it says in our problem definition on the other side. And I didn't move this over far enough. So anyway, I know I'm looping through based on the number of digits. I know I'm at least going to do that many operations because I'm looking at digits length. And I'm starting at digit length and I'm going all the way to 0. So I know at least I'm going to do that many operations. So let's call digits length. I'm going to put that here, digits length. Let's call that n. And I know I'm going to do that many operations. And then in here, big O notation is based on things that relate to the size of your input. And here, this loop relates to the size of my input. However many digits I have is how many times I loop here. So I can count that as part of my big O notation. These operations inside of here, they don't relate. I do them that many times, but whether I do one thing in here or whether I do these 6 things in here, it reduces down in big O notation as constant time. Like no matter what the length of digits is, I'm always just going to do these 6 operations inside of the loop. I've already accounted for how many times I do the loop, but it's always 6 things that I do in here. Like they're constant. They don't, nothing in here changes based on the size of my input. It's just how many times I do it, which I've already accounted for with the loop here. If I was doing another loop inside of here, I'd actually have to, like based off of some, either this length or some other length, then I would have to account for that in my big O notation. But these are all constant operations. They're not tied to the size of my input. Down here, I believe this is not a constant operation. I believe spreading the digits actually is going to what it's doing behind the scenes is it's creating a new array with 1, and it's actually having to put these digits in one by one. I believe that's the case. I'm going to assume that's the case. Like worst case, I'm going to assume that's the case. So what's happening here is I'm looping through digits one time. That's n, remember, plus I have to do n operations here to spread this array out over into this new array. So it's n plus n. N plus n is also reduces down to n. And why it reduces to n is because n plus n is nominal as far as when it scales up. Because 1 plus, like if it's say n was 1, like this number only had 1 digit, then it just be 1 plus 1, it just be 2. And so it's really not scaling exponentially. Now, if this was n times n, then that means it would be scaled like if it was 10 digits, it would actually be 10 times 10, which would be 100 operations off of just 10 digits. And so in this case, but if it's just n plus n, and just be 10 plus 10, which is 20. So that actually reduces down to n. So, and you really gotta just look at big O notation to understand this, but that basically means in this problem, my algorithm here, the time complexity is big O of n, which is called linear time. And space complexity is the same concept, but it's about how much space are you using in addition to the input. And by space, I mean new data structures that you had to create that scale based on the size of the input. I only have this data structure, this digits array. I mutated. I don't do anything else. The only thing I do is create this new output here. And so I believe because I create this new output here, this will be n. This would be the length of digits. So I create a whole new data structure with the length of digits. So I believe just doing that makes my space complexity, I might not be sure about that, but I believe that makes the space complexity also big O of n. Now, if I could find a way to do this without spreading or without, I don't know how you would do it, because when you add something to the front of an index, then you have to move all of the rest of the character, when you add something to the start of an array, you have to push all the existing items in the array back 1. So you got to like move them from the index they're at to the next index, and so on. So you have to go through the whole array and move them back a new index. And by doing that, it's an operation every time you move a digit. And so I think behind the scenes, it's always going to be big O of n. So yeah, and somebody said, how do you determine what space complexity is? I assume for a loop is always big O of n. Basically, yeah. I mean, space complexity is you basically figure it out the same way you can figure out time complexity, but instead of thinking about the number of operations, you're thinking about if you've created some sort of data structure that is becoming larger based on the size of the input. In this case, it's this data structure that I create. It actually, if digits is 100 digits long, this data structure I create is going to be 100 digits. If digits is 1,000 long, which it can't be in this problem, but let's just say for the sake of argument, then this would actually be 1,000. So this my space complexity of this, how much runtime memory I would use here would be like 100 digits or 1,000 digits or whatever the size of the digit is. So my algorithm space complexity, how much runtime memory it takes as far as these data structures it uses, like complex data structures, is scaling with the size of my input at a rate of linear time. So big O of n, or linear space in this case. So it's kind of hard. It's space and time complexity. I could do a whole live on just explaining how that works, because I'm not even getting into exponential like complexity, like n squared, and I'm not even getting into like these more complex like worse time complexities. There's a whole chart that shows you kind of what the time complexities are. But I'm not going to go into that. But I think this is right. So anyway, I would have to explain this to the interviewer and talk to them about it and, hopefully get it right. But sometimes they'll help you, sometimes they won't. But you'd have to be able to discuss this with the interviewer. And the more you talk through it, the more leeway some interviewers will give you, or they may help you, give you a hint. Or if they think your thought process is good, they might give you a pass. It just depends on the interviewer. It depends on the company. Some companies are tougher than others. Some interviewers are tougher than others. It just depends. And space-time complexities are tough, man. Really, you just got to learn what to look for. And I got a freaking ant on my screen. It's messed up. But anyway, you got to look at what, I would just look at clues for space complexity and time complexity, like loops that are growing to the size of your input. You want to look for the data structures that you're using, not the data structure that you input, but like new data structures you create actually inside the algorithm. And you just want to study it, man. It's tough sometimes. Like even I get some of these space and time complexities wrong, especially when there's because I'm just having n. Sometimes you actually have algorithms that's like n times m. Like you have a whole nother. You might have two things you input in this problem, and you have to kind of like factor in the time complexity or space complexity for both of them. And so in this case, it's pretty simple. At linear space, and it's usually big O N is what your target usually is for a lot of problems. These easy problems, a lot of times it's going to be linear. Sometimes you get a problem that's n squared, but usually if you get an n squared solution, usually that's the brute force solution. And there's a lot of times interviewers like to ask a question with a solution where you can brute force it to get n squared. But if you optimize it, you can actually get down to linear time. So that is I guess I'm gonna go ahead and run the code, and I'm gonna answer some questions before I start reading through the comments and stuff. But I'm definitely gonna get to the questions soon here. Just let me run this. I think I'm ready to run it. I've talked about the space-time complexity. I've went through the problem manually. So hey, it's time to run the problem at this point. So I'm gonna run it. LeetCode lets you run it. Like I said in the interview, you might be in a tool where you can run it. You might not be. It just depends on the company. So I got all 3 test cases right. That test case we practiced 1, 2, 3. I got the output, expected output right. The other test case we practiced 9. I got 10. Output was 10. That's what they expected. Like 1 and 0 in an array. So, and also what LeetCode lets you do is run it against, what they'll do is like, instead of just 3 cases, they'll run it through like 100 different test cases, and then they'll compare you to other people that have run this problem on LeetCode if you do submit. And y'all can't see it up there in the top, but I just submitted it. And so this is what I get from LeetCode. It says my runtime beat 100%, 0 milliseconds. So it must have run pretty fast, but I don't know. I think this, you take these with a grain of salt. And like my memory, I definitely could have did better on my memory. It's probably because I'm using that, it's probably this. It's probably a way that I can do this without, probably with the original array maybe, without creating an extra array. It's probably some way I can do this a lot better, but with that I only beat 39% of people. But that's fine. I'm not worried about it at this point. Something I probably can come back to. And it's anytime. Oh dang, I've reached the limit. Dang. I'm pretty sure it's big O of n, y'all. I'm pretty sure it's big O of n. So y'all just gotta trust me on that, or go throw this problem into ChatGPT and let it tell you the time complexity. Or I guess I can do that. But I don't want to show my ChatGPT right now because I don't know if it's even logged in or anything. So, but anyway, just trust me on that one, or go look it up yourself for sure. But I'm pretty sure I'm right with the time complexity. Big O of N, linear time. I hope that I'm right at least. And yeah, so that's this problem. I hope that makes sense to y'all. Let me try to position it where people can see like they were. I gotta move this down. So yeah, y'all can still see the answer and see the problem for people that's jumping in. Yeah. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed that. I hope it helped somebody. I hope it made some sense. Now I answer a couple questions. But this is what you would do in an interview. Now, this type of problem, you want to do this in like 15 minutes or less. Now I over explain. I'm answering questions. I'm talking slow. I'm doing everything slow to try to like help. But in a real interview, I'd have to do this within like 15 minutes. An easy problem, you want to do it within 15 minutes. A lot of times you're not gonna get much more, and especially at a FANG company, they're expecting you to be able to do like this within an interview, probably with another problem, because it's an easy one. And so yeah, you have to get really quick at these, and you still want to explain yourself and do all the same stuff I did, but you just want to be pretty efficient. So you gotta practice these. I know it's scary, but that's how I was in the industry probably like 5 or 6 years, maybe 7 years before I even did a coding challenge interview. It was a long time. I mean, I've been in like 10 now, but when I first started out, like it wasn't a lot of them. Only the FANG companies were doing like coding challenge interviews. Every interview I did didn't have a coding challenge, and it was more like they had coding. They didn't have elite code style challenges like these, like the more trivia style ones. They had more like, hey, build this. Hey, do this. Hey, do this more practical problem, which I like those better actually. I feel like they relate more to the job. But these style questions came from Google originally, and then a lot of the other FANGs picked it up, and a lot of other big tech companies picked it up, and now a lot of companies do these type of problems. So it was I say that to say that it was a point in time when I was not good at these problems. Even though I was a professional software engineer, I had to go and actually study these problems outside of my job, like as a side thing. Now, did my coding career help me pick it up faster and help me be probably better at them than I would if I just was starting out my career? Oh, more like most definitely, like for sure. But is it a separate skill that you kind of have to learn for interviews? I definitely say so. Do the skills transfer to the job? Yes, they do. Like as far as writing efficient algorithms and saving the company money on resources, like space complexity matters, time complexity matters. In some cases it don't. Some jobs you may work, you don't even need to think about time complexity. It just depends on the job. But everybody should know it to a degree. I think every programmer should know it because you never know when you'll run into it. So that's just my feeling on it. That's my thought on it. Anyway, I'll answer some questions for a little while, and then yeah, I'll probably let this thing go. I think I'm live on everywhere. Yeah, if y'all want to switch to other channels, I'll say that once again. I'm live on almost every social media channel that you can think of: TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Let me read it: Twitch, X or Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I think I said YouTube already. All right, I'm done. Yeah, so you can switch to those follow me on other channels, follow each other, connect with each other in the comments and stuff. Is it easier to use Python for these coding challenges? Yeah, it's probably easy to use. That keep coming up. Everybody keep bringing up Python, and they're like, why are you using JavaScript? JavaScript is a good language to use for coding challenge, especially if you're a front-end engineer. And my last probably 5 years of my career, I've been a front-end engineer just based off where my company needed me. Before that, I was doing C#. I was more of a full stack back end. Full stack. I did everything. I did JavaScript and C#, Java. But more recently, I've been going for more front end roles. And so JavaScript is like, some interviews, they forced me to use JavaScript. Some interviews, they gave me an option. But if I'm going for a front end role, the language is JavaScript or TypeScript. So I'm going to use that in an interview to show the interviewer that I have proficiency in this. Even if I could do it easier in Python, I want you to know how I code in JavaScript. But use whatever language is comfortable to you. Just like a fellow said that was on my live earlier, most comfortable to you if they give you the option. So Python, yes, if Python's a great language to learn if you're starting off coding, it's a great language to learn, probably one of the best to learn for coding challenges. So I will give it that nod that it is probably one of the, if not the best, one of the best to learn for coding challenges because it has low verbosity in its syntax. So a lot of the stuff you have to type in JavaScript, and especially in like Java or other languages, a lot of the verbosity, I mean like a lot of the extra syntax that you don't have to write in Python, that you have to write in other languages, which makes it a lot easier to use, less syntax stuff to remember for Python. So yeah, you're an inspiration. Just stumbled upon your page. Appreciate that, Surge29. I appreciate that, man. I need that, man. I need that to keep me going, man. Keep me pushing my content out and just trying to help people like people helped me when I was first getting into it, and do these lives and help people and help myself get better. So I really appreciate you saying that, man. Like for sure. Yeah, appreciate that, man. I hope whatever you got going on, man. I hope it's connect with me, man. DM, like, hope that whatever you got going on, whatever stage you're at in your career, I hope everything goes good. Somebody said Python is garbage. Hey, man, see, we got people on here talk about Python garbage, and then we had another guy on here earlier was like, why you not using Python? Like, you need to be using Python like at all times on these coding challenges. So everybody got a different opinion on it. So just use whatever you're most comfortable with. Focus on whatever your goal is in the industry. Use whatever they tell you to use on the interview, and whatever you're most comfortable with. I don't use Python because I don't use it at work, so I just don't dig into it that much. I use mostly JavaScript and Java and at work, and C# used to be. TypeScript is the only thing that matters. Yeah, a lot of people falling off of JavaScript and just going to TypeScript, which is, for people that don't know, is like a superset of JavaScript. So anything you can write in JavaScript, you can write in TypeScript because it's a superset of the language. But it adds static type into the language, makes it more predictable as far as types goes. You can define your types beforehand. It gives you compile time error on type issues, whereas JavaScript, there are going to be runtime errors if you have type issues. You may not know what your types are at certain points. You're working with other devs, they can overwrite your types or abuse not even your types, they can abuse your objects, and you may not know what the heck is going on. It can lead to unpredictability in your code and make it hard to maintain. But if you write JavaScript right, you can get over those things. But that's what TypeScript is meant to do, is meant to help you avoid that stuff. So a lot of people swear by TypeScript. I'm not a swear by TypeScript type of dude. I still use JavaScript a lot. I use TypeScript when it's necessary and when it's most beneficial. But I still think you can do some good things, and you can write some safe, optimized, high quality code with pure JavaScript. I still believe in that. But yeah, I know a lot of people are saying just kill JavaScript and just use TypeScript. Once the browsers natively run TypeScript, then I'll probably switch over. I definitely would switch over then. I'll completely just like, okay, I'm not writing pure JavaScript anymore. Once you don't have to like compile down, like with a transpile TypeScript to native JavaScript to run in browsers, then I will probably make the full-time switch instead of just kind of being part-time. So that's how I feel about it. Do you use Mac? Yeah, I'm on a Mac right now. I only use Mac. In my career, I started with Windows. When I started my career, they gave us a Windows machine because we were a Windows shop. We wrote a lot of C# code. Microsoft.net is what we built our applications in, mobile apps, web services, databases. We use Microsoft SQL actually. So it was a full stack Microsoft company. And so I started off with a Windows machine because it just ran better on Windows. But as soon as we started doing JavaScript stuff and Java stuff and other type of stuff, it became very clear that everything ran better on Mac. And so ever since then, professionally, I've been using a Mac probably like most of my career now. And for my home computer, I've been using Mac since I got out of college. Like I used a Windows through college, and about my senior year, I got a Mac, and I never looked back on my personal machine. Because it's just easier to do a lot of developer things because it's like Linux based. And Windows is good too, but it's just preference. But I think a lot of you can have some challenges with Windows sometimes. I think a computer will be better at speaking its own language than any human can. Yeah, I mean, these programming languages are abstraction from machine code. So it's like there are lower level languages like C and assembly, which are like they're closer to the machine code, like the actual commands that a computer can understand. But once you get up to higher level languages like JavaScript and C# and Java and stuff like that, even Python, it's like these are abstractions that are written to help humans write code that a computer understand. It's more closer to what we can understand, like if this, then that, and while this, do this, and this variable's name this. Computer don't really care about that. Computer cares about actual machine, like the actual processor cares about like lower level languages. But what these programming languages do are abstractions, and they eventually compile down to just machine instructions at the end of the day. And so, yeah, that's a good topic. It's just linear algebra and vector math. Black Ranger, what's up, man? Appreciate those comments. I totally agree. How'd you get into coding? Shoot, let me think about it. Yeah, I got into coding in college, man. I was an engineer. I was gonna be a mechanical engineer. And I was doing physics, and we were building like engineering stuff, and I was taking all these engineering classes of like how to mechanical engineer. So it was like how to like actually build stuff, like, like the process of building things and engineering real products and things, like I don't even know. I didn't get far enough into it, but I didn't like it that much. I mean, I was kind of indifferent to it. I was just in college. I said mechanical engineering is a great job. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just something I just chose because I just felt like it was going to make some good money. And then we had one programming class in the engineering school. And I was like, what is this? I was like, I didn't even know normal people could program. I didn't even, like back then, this is 10 years ago. Or no, shoot, I'm aging myself. It's more than 10 years ago. A long time ago. Maybe like 15 years ago now. When I was in college or whatever. I'm old. So anyway, like this was early in college. And we took one programming class, and I was like, dang, back then programming wasn't as popular. So you didn't even I didn't know normal people did program. I thought you had to be like some MIT, Harvard dude to, this is when like Facebook first came out. I thought you had to be like that to know how to code. And so when we were taking a programming class, like as part of the engineering curriculum, and everybody else hated it, and I loved it. I was like, this programming stuff is like down my alley. And so then I found out there was a major for it at the school, computer science. It was a whole department for it. And I was like, dang, I didn't know that. Like, I didn't even know you could get into this. Like, I didn't know. I would have chose this. And so immediately, like my freshman year, I think it was my sophomore year, I switched my major to computer science. And then I never looked back. Like, it was the best decision I made, because then after that, coding and all that stuff just blew up. Like, it became like tech was like a nerdy thing back then, like getting into computers and stuff. But once social media blew up, and MySpace and Facebook and all that stuff blew up, and Mark Zuckerberg became like the most famous tech dude on the planet or whatever, behind Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, I guess. But he was kind of more like down on the earth of like coding dude in like 2007, that time. And so coding just kind of blew up, and tech kind of blew up and got more popular. And so more money came, and so it was a great industry to be in for a while. Now it's starting to be at risk again with this AI stuff, so we'll see how it goes. Keep looking, apply for some Mo bands. Appreciate you jumping in and adding some comments here. 20 jobs a day, or keep looking to apply to 20 jobs a day. Learn skills at the same time. Yeah, I think you're giving advice just how to find a job. Yeah. One thing, I just posted a post on all my channels about like how to stand out. And one of the ways I chopped it from my last live, is that like, do what he said, what Mo Band said, like apply. You need to be applying a crazy amount of jobs. I don't care so much if you're qualified or not. Just keep applying. Like, you need to do a numbers game. Like, you need to apply to like as many as you find. Practice up your skills. That's interviewing skills. What you can also do is start doing real projects. So maybe do a little freelancing. because you want to get some experience on your resume. And without getting that first job, it's like a chicken and the egg problem. You can't get the experience. But what I did to get my first job is I actually worked with a company and said, hey, they paid me a little bit of money. Some of them didn't pay, but I worked with a couple companies and did some freelancing. But what I did is I wrote up a contract, or I got them to write up a contract and built something for them that was real, that they put up on their site, that was a real thing. And I put it on my resume as contract work. You can say it's freelancing work, you can say it is, but I think what sounds the best is like short-term contract work. So like literally put a time limit in the contract. Like, I'm working for you for 3 months. I'm going to build you a website for your restaurant and put that on your resume as I work 3 months in this company building this website. And really do it, because by doing it, you don't want to lie about this kind of stuff, because they might call the company. Like, it needs to be a legit company. I mean, you can do it with friends and family, but it works better if it's a legit company that they can call and verify. And you're going to build your skills up while doing it, because you're going to learn stuff in the software development process of building a real thing that you can't learn from tutorials. You just can't emulate it. You can't emulate struggle. You can't emulate when a client asks you for something that you can't do and you got to stay up all night trying to figure it out. Because when you're just doing a side project, you just give up on it. You just like, I'm going to go another way because I don't have to be doing this. But when a client's paying you to do it, you got to do it. And that forcing of you learning something is what's going to help you grow. And then at the same time, you add it to your resume as contract work. Yes, it's not as big as a real job, but it's not as it doesn't hit as hard on a resume as a real job, but it's you put it on there as contract work. It kind of can help you stand out as having some sort of relevant experience, especially if you're new and you haven't had a software development full-time job before. So I read that 12-year experience engineer got let go from his job. Yeah, man. I mean, I know some, I mean, I'm not excluded from maybe getting laid off one day, because the industry's not in the best place right now, but it's still, you still can make good money. There's still people still hiring. I believe that it's going to turn around, that we're in a kind of a down point now after the pandemic. We're still kind of real. I know it's been years after the pandemic, but we're still kind of in the aftershocks of the pandemic. But I still think it's going to turn around as this AI stuff spins up. Yeah, are there going to be less jobs with the AI? But I still think in the next foreseeable future that it's still going to be a lot of jobs. I just think we need to upskill. You need to start. You don't need to rely on AI while you're learning, but as you start to get your foundation built, start to slowly integrate AI. Like, you should be using AI in your learning. You just shouldn't be crutching on it while you're learning, if that makes sense. Like, use AI to teach you stuff. Like, we used to Google stuff anyway, so it's like AI is just a fancy form of Google. Use it like that, but don't use it to give you the answer without learning something, if that makes sense. So, yeah, and there's still so much, like said Leo, still so much AI can't do. Like, so true, man. Like, AI can't do everything right now. Like, I get in arguments all the time on here about the AI thing. Like, AI gonna take over some people that's AI gonna take over everything. Y'all ain't gonna have a job. And then there's some people that like AI can't do everything, that's more knowledgeable. I think I'm on the other side of like AI can't do everything yet. Yes, it will get better. It will get exponentially better. But what are we gonna do? Like, I was talking to one of my co-workers about it. It's like, what are we gonna do? Just stop learning stuff and stop building skills? The skilled people are always going to be, and if you look at history, the skilled people is always going to win. When the internet came, a lot of people lost their jobs. It was a lot of jobs that the internet took over. And when self-gas pumps came, people lost jobs. When elevators start being self-serve, people lost jobs. When, technology, I know AI is different because it's a lot more powerful, but things change, over time. Let changes. And the people that I always see winning through history are the people that build up skills. And so I just say, don't let this AI thing scare you away from joining the tech industry. At least get in the industry, and then you'll sort out over time where you land, whether it's a coder, whether it's a prompt engineer, like whether you are actually help building the AI, whether you're doing security, because AI still introduces a lot of security issues. That's one of the biggest holes that it has, is that it hallucinates and develops security issues that humans have to fix still. And so, there's still jobs for us. So, like, I wouldn't let it scare you out of it. And the other side of that is, what else there's no other industry you can come and tell me that is completely AI proof. Now, yeah, being a doctor, maybe being like a lawyer probably is closer to being AI proof. But like I could make a case for almost any profession that AI can come forward. And what I'm talking about is once you add in robotics with AI. So once you start having bots walking around that are AI, have AI, like Elon's working on them. Amazon's working on them. Multiple companies are working on AI driven bots that can do repairs. So yeah, a lot of people will say like, oh yeah, if I be a plumber, I'm gonna be straight. If I be a roofer, I'm gonna be straight. But isn't a roofing job, like, isn't that perfect for a robot, an AI driven robot to do? You have a manager, he on the ground, he's sitting in the truck waiting. He sends 3 bots on the roof and they know exactly what to do. They can scan the roof and they do the roofing. So like I can make a case for anything ain't AI safe. So we can't just keep having a conversation about tech and like letting it scare us from joining the tech industry. The people that's gonna win is the people that add skills to their tool belt. So just keep learning, keep applying for jobs, try to get in the industry. And once you get in that industry, get that first job, now you can pivot. You can pivot to what's most good once this industry. You want to be ready if the industry does swing back and these companies need to start hiring more. So anyway, I know I'm like rambling, but that's kind of what I feel like. Yeah, but like handyman. Like, yeah, so I mean, yeah, you can say that now. That's what they say about AI. Somebody said the bots are too slow to take over a plumbing job or take over a handyman job. They're too slow. Right now they too slow. It's the same thing about AI. Like I'll say right now, AI is not good enough to take my job. It just ain't. It hallucinates too much. When I'm using it, it doesn't work. It has security holes. Can it take some of my job? Yes, but can it take my whole job? No. It doesn't understand the nuances of web development, even the stuff I do. It's a lot of, it understands it to a degree, but there's certain things that it just screws up on at right now. A year from now, 5 years from now, that may not be the case. It's the same with robotics. Like the robots, yeah, they slow now, but like, are they going to still be that slow 2 years from now, 5 years from now? Probably not. They probably can go and, fix some plumbing thing or something. Or even if it ain't, maybe they're human assisted. So yeah, they may not, where you would bring out 2-3 humans to do a roofing job, you may bring out 1 human and 2 bots. You know what I'm saying? So you still lost jobs, right? So like, yeah, you still got 1 human there, but you don't have 3 like you used to. That 1 human, whenever the bots make mistakes, he just tweaks them. You doing the wrong thing, go over here, do this. He commands them, he tweaks them, but you still lost 2 jobs there. So I know I'm kind of like, I'm spreading doom and gloom, but then I'm also spreading optimism on the other side. But I'm just doing that to say that like, the goal of what I'm saying here is don't let this AI thing scare you from upping your level of your skills in whatever you're trying to do in the tech industry. Just do it. Just start on it. Don't let it, because I'm seeing too many people say they don't want to join tech industry because their AI is just going to take everything over. It's going to take over everything. If you think that, then it's going to take over everything. So you might as well just do it. That's my point. So, I mean, yeah, you may be able to find something that's a little more safe to it for a longer period of time, but like, I don't know, man. It is what it is to be, man. I feel like you want to get into tech, you want to go ahead and get into it. I know I skipped a lot of questions doing that long talk on AI. I always get into this AI thing, man. AI just took over everything, man. It's just, yeah, appreciate it, Byron. Yeah, y'all go check out Byron, man, on TikTok, man. He's in the industry too, man. He know a lot, post some great content. He said, yeah, folks need to hear this. Yeah, man. I mean, I just don't like hearing that people are like, they're using it as an excuse not to, because it's hard to get into coding or get into other things in the tech industry. They're using it as an excuse to not do it because they think it's going to get taken over. And I promise, if you build those skills up, they will be useful for something. Even if you just build your own startup, or even if you use the AI tools to build something, or like, I don't know, like, but it's going to be the people that I see winning in history are the people that build up their skills. So, just do it. That's what I think. AI alignment liaison here. Dang, what is that? Hey, explain what that role is. It sounds cool though. It's not just code in other fields too, Sally. Yep, that's what I'm saying. AI is coming for everything. So why even worry about it to that level? Like, just start learning stuff. Start learning with AI, and just, instead of trying to beat it, just join it. Still upskill yourself, because they're gonna be certain. I think even it's gonna be certain jobs that, like, certain companies not gonna want AI to be involved for whatever reasons. Maybe it's security clearance. Maybe, maybe the government don't want Google looking at some secure code that they have for some secure government thing or something. I don't know, but you just never know where you can find a spot. So yeah, I'm most scared. I think I answered like so many of these AI questions. Like, yeah, when Black Ranger said when quantum computing come, we're definitely, yeah. So quantum computing, yeah, like you start putting those in bots and then integrating the bots with AI, and it's just gonna be light speed progress at that point. It's quantum computing, that's gonna, like, right now, the AI is very expensive to run, and that's one of its major limitations. That's what a lot of companies are about to see when they try to start replacing us. They're gonna start to see that it's extremely expensive. Like, even the ChatGPT, the ChatGPT OpenAI dude, is it Sam Altman or whatever his name is? He said saying thank you to ChatGPT wastes like millions of dollars. Just saying thank you. He's like, if y'all just leave the thank you off, then we would save so much resources and money. And so if it can't even say, if thank you is hurting it, then replacing millions of devs or hundreds of thousands of devs with AI agents is definitely going to cost these companies a lot of money and a lot of resources. So that's a limitation too that people are not talking about much. So I appreciate that comment. Yeah, when we get to quantum computing, it's going to be easier to get past that limitation. But until then, we still okay. Mark Zuckerberg said in 5 years, AI will take over. I mean, hey, man, I can't speak for 5 years, because 5 years ago, I didn't know it was going to be like this right now. So I really can't speak for 5 years. I just know that if 5 years from now, you haven't personally built up any skills. So let's say you decide not to go into tech. If you haven't personally improved yourself in some way in 5 years, because you said that AI is going to take over everything anyway, like, that's the thing I'm talking about. Like, it's not that I don't believe that AI is going to take over. It's the using it as an excuse to not upskill is the thing I'm trying to say here. So that's the point. That's basically the point I'm trying to make. It's like, it's not a good excuse, because then what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, with no skills, what are you going to do? At least you want to be the person that can review what the AI is doing. So if it's doing everything, there's always going to be maybe there's a checkpoint person that, like, every day you just review what the AI is doing to make sure it's right, make sure there's no security holes, make sure it's this. But you need to have foundational skills to be able to review what the AI is doing. Or maybe you're the one tuning the AI, so, like, even if you're not the one doing what the AI is doing, you still having the skill and the knowledge and the foundation behind it still can give you a job in the tech industry. So yeah. And then, yeah, man, somebody said, Black Ranger said, AI is mostly hype. So it's a lot of hype. I ain't gonna say mostly hype, but I'm gonna kind of go with you there. Like, it's a lot of hype in it. And I think there's an AI bubble that's gonna pop, because it's too many companies releasing their own AIs and AI and LLMs and agents. Everybody not gonna be able to win. Like, some of these companies are gonna fall through the cracks, and they're gonna get stomped. And they're going to be the few ones that survive. But I think the AI bubble is going to pop, and a lot of these companies are going to go away, and it's going to simplify everything. And we're going to really learn what this thing is, what its limitations are, how we're going to integrate it into our lives, into our jobs. And I think it's going to be a lot more clear then. But until then, it's just all these companies just running to see who's going to be first and who's going to have, capitalize on all this money to be made. So yeah, focus on adjacent industry can be helpful in this crazy market. Yeah. So, like, even if you can't get a coding job, maybe trying to, I hate to say it, the help desk, the technical help desk, it sucks, man. But, like, I know a lot of people use that as a starting point though to get into the industry. I know it can be annoying because it's like customer service basically with a tech lens. I know it can be a little annoying, but I mean, it can be a great way to get some technical experience and technical skills. I know it may not be where we're going to land, but that can be pretty good. Or like adjacent industry, as far as like maybe you join the tech company but not in a technical role. Like, so you find a job at Amazon or whatever, and then you find a way to pivot within Amazon to a technical role. You know, you just get to a technical company first. Or like, I'd say even more technical company than Amazon is like Airbnb or something like something that's literally a tech company, or Uber, or, you know, somewhere like that. And I'm starting to lose my voice, so I'll probably answer like 10 more minutes of questions and then get off of here. Back end, and you'll stand out, and OOP you'll stand out more. Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like with the rise of the popularity of like JavaScript and front end languages, a lot of people join the industry and they don't think about the less fancy parts of software development: web services, database work, web APIs, cloud ops, you know, cloud computing, learning about cloud services and scaling systems architecture. Like, there's a lot of other things you can be doing that can help you, you know, on the back end, that can help you stand out, because it's just less people doing. Like, it's less people just not coming on here talking about they learning C#. There's a lot of C# companies out here. Like, yeah, there's a lot of other, you know, Java companies. A lot of people not just like praising Java right now. Everybody wants to learn JavaScript and Python. And so there's a lot of space for these other languages that can maybe help you stand out more if you specialize in them. But make sure there's job openings for these jobs too, you know. PhotoLogic, my boy, man, I hope to see. Well, I think, yeah, I'm definitely going to see you at Render. So I'm going to Render ATL conference in Atlanta next week. So if people see me there, just walk up, man. Just let me know. If I see you, I'm definitely walking up. So PhotoLogic, usually who I'm hanging with. That's who I was hanging with last year, one of the people. So I'll probably be hanging with him this year. But anyway, he's asking, what am I streaming on? I'm using this service called Restream. And it's basically just a stream aggregator, or I don't know, I guess it's a reverse aggregator. Like, you stream in one thing and it like spits it out to all the different channels. So I'm on Instagram and I'm on everything, like all the possible different channels. So yeah, we been talking like this to friends and peers. They say I drunk the Kool-Aid. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but it's probably about that AI stuff, man. This AI conversation, man, it's crazy. But oh yeah, my bad. I am with the streaming thing. I'm using Restream, but I'm using OBS. You can sign into Restream, and then that'll direct your stream out to all these different channels. And Restream is paid. You got to pay a little bit for it. But I mean, to use like all these channels I'm using, you got to pay a little bit, but it's worth it. It works pretty well. So I am using OBS. I think OBS, you probably can set up the stream yourself, but you got to have your computer got to be able to handle if you stream out to multiple streams through OBS. What I do is I just sign into Restream in OBS, set up my images and stuff in OBS. Like, you know, you can set up stuff where you got these like pictures and stuff that can, you know, you can set up images and turn off certain things and, you know, all kind of stuff like that. So like I got my little camera thing down here, which is kind of cool. I had to set that up in OBS, my like box where I'm webcam is. So anyway, it's kind of outside the point, but hopefully y'all learn something from that if you want to start streaming. I'm early to this streaming stuff, man. So this is like my kind of bootleg early. I hope this is just the start, you know. Hopefully it gets better over time. Crazy. There's 100 applicants on every job I apply. Don't look at the number of applicants, man. It can make you go crazy. Just keep applying like crazy. Don't try to just nitpick jobs. Look for, you know, just try to apply to as many jobs as possible that fit under your scope. It's a numbers game at this point. Yeah, there are a lot of people. It's just no way around it. You just got to keep applying, trying to make your resume better. I really do say, man, start freelancing, man. Like, at least doing one app to put on your resume with a company, one contract. Set up a contract. Find a real company, even if you got to do it for free. Find a real company. Get some experience on your resume so that your resume gets through some of these filters. Because what's happening is, like, you got 100 applicants. if 40 of them don't have any experience and you at least got that, it may jump you ahead a little bit. So that's the only thing I really can say to stand out until the industry turns around and there's just more jobs out there. Because right now there's just not enough jobs for people who's coming in. But yeah, so I graduated as software engineer last year and can't find a job. Yeah, that's tough, man. It's rough out here. But yeah, just above him, somebody said Black Ranger said he's a chemical engineer. Now he's SWE. So yeah, that was similar to me. I switched from mechanical engineering to coding, which, you know, sometimes I look back at engineering, man, mechanical engineering. I'm like, dang, man, I wish I could have went down that path too. I was mechanical engineering, then I switched to computer engineering. It might have been cool to go down that path too, but I'm happy with my choice. But I also respect the engineers out there, mechanical engineers, computer engineers, industrial engineers, environmental engineers, like all different engineers. Cause I give respect because y'all got through that curriculum. So it just wasn't connecting with me. So I give you respect, man. I like what y'all do and everything too. So, sometimes I do think back and wonder, what if, and maybe I have more job security now according to what everybody's saying about AI, but anyway. So yeah, I see an integer overflow vulnerability in your code. There probably is, but maybe you can come back and explain. You might have left the thing by now, but what I'm doing is I'm working off these constraints. So the length will never be more than 100, and the digits will never be will always be between 0 and 9. So never be more than 100 and always be between 0 and 9. So like I'm working off these constraints. So if I didn't have these constraints here, I would probably be in my code. I'd probably be more worried about like overflow. Like if like this was like some crazy number that would like break my software. Like I actually probably would put like if statements at the top of this to say, don't even run this. If like this is greater than the maximum number allowed in JavaScript, don't even run this code because I can't handle it. It's going to just blow up. Or if it's lower than the minimum number in JavaScript, don't run this code. So I probably put an if statement before all of this if I didn't know these constraints. And when you know these constraints, in an interview, if you ask for them or if they give them to you, then it's safer to they're giving you the constraints for a reason because they're trying to help you time box the problem. If you start just doing stuff, even though the constraints are there, you may go over it because it's a time thing. Like I said earlier, this easy type of problem like this, you got to do this with 15 minutes or less. And so in most interview cases. So when I give interviews, typically I give at least 20 minutes and I think I'm pretty generous. But like I've been in FANG interviews, like Amazon, for instance. For instance, I had to do a problem a little bit harder than this, but it was still considered an easy. And I had to do it in like 15 minutes because the dude asked me like 3 different problems. And it was only a 45-minute interview. So, I had to do this one in 15 minutes. Or I had to do one like this, an easy one in 15 minutes. So I'm rambling, but I'm saying all that to say that like when they give you constraints, they give you new constraints usually for a reason to help simplify the problem so it doesn't go out of control. You know what I mean? Like with the time. Because you are under time constraints in the interview, unfortunately, even when you know the answer. I did an interview at Airbnb one time. They had LeetCode hard, or what's considered a super hard. Well, I wouldn't say super hard, but I don't know how to describe it. It's like the hardest version of LeetCode problem, hardest version of coding challenges. The problem took 45 minutes to do. Like it's expected to take about 45 minutes to do, or 30 minutes to do, I'd say probably if you really fast at it. And I knew the answer to this problem. I just couldn't do it fast enough. I just knew the answer. I just couldn't do it that fast. It took me about an hour to do it. And we ran out of time. And I didn't finish it. And I was thinking like, man, he probably still going to pass it because he knew. I explained my thought process. He knew I knew what to do. I just couldn't do it. I ran into a couple mistakes. But he knew that overall I knew what to do. But he still failed me because some companies are just like, hey, if you don't get to work in code, I don't do that when I interview people. I'm like, you don't have to get to work in code. As long as I feel like your thought process as well, and you know what you're doing, and you explain yourself well, and I want to learn the way you think, and I want to judge that. I don't want to judge just 100% whether you get the right answer or not. Now, is it good? Yeah, but that's not all I look for. So, doesn't Google have the hardest interview questions? That's what I heard. I never actually interviewed for Google before. But I interviewed for like Amazon, Microsoft, like some of these other FAANG companies, or like big tech companies. But I just never interviewed for Google before. But I did hear they had the hardest. Google is the one that made up the leak code style interview, the coding challenge interview. They're the ones who originated it. And then all these other companies just started copying them, years ago. And then it's just become prevalent in the industry now. But I have seen, last time I was interviewing, like in like 2020, I had seen a shift. A lot of it, like I say about half the interviews I did had moved away from leak code style and they moved more into practical style. So like some interviews for front end dev, I would get in there and they make me build like a web component. So it still was an algorithm in it, but it was more practical to the everyday job, which I like totally a lot better. Like I was building like a clock, or one interview I built a microwave number. Like, how a microwave, like has the number on it, you put time in it and then it counts down every second. They made me build like a microwave interface, like a display. Display is a better word for it, which I had never seen that before. That was kind of cool. Like I might actually build that on live one day, like build a microwave, because it has some intricacies to it that you wouldn't think about. Like when you got to clear the time off, you got to add the time. Then he made me like add 30-second button, like you want to add 30 seconds to the time. And you have to be able to like go from 3 digits down to 1 digit and like, do the Roman numerals and like the backwards order or whatever, or like the right order or whatever. It was cool. And I remember Google question asking me to find all sewer covers within the city. Dang, asking for code to find all sewer covers in the city. God, dog. That's a weird one, man. But I mean, maybe was it a matrix problem? Like it had like a grid, like a matrix. You had to go through the grid and find the sewer covers. I like to hear what that problem is about. Are you currently employed? Do you love your job? Yes, I'm currently employed at like a chat company. So we do like if you go on a website and they say chat here, and a little chat window pops up and you can chat and message with their customer service, like on like a website, like your phone carrier or your internet provider. You need to chat with the customer service. I build that chat box that a lot of big companies use. They use our chat service. So I do a lot of, right now, at least in the later years, I've been doing a lot of JavaScript work, web application work. I do like it because my stuff gets to be seen. It gets to be used by a lot of people, millions of people every day. So I have like a lot of impact on the world, which is pretty cool. I mean, relatively on the world. I mean, I see people, I literally can be walking through a coffee shop and see somebody using something I built, which is, or a family and friend using something I built, which is kind of cool, or something I work on, which is kind of cool. So I do like it. Yeah, somebody jumped on there and said the name of the company, but I ain't gonna say it on the stream. But yeah, that's the company. But yeah, anything I say on this stream is not what do they be saying? Is not represent. It doesn't represent the thoughts of the company and all that stuff. It's my thoughts and my thoughts only. All that stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I love my job, man. It's cool. Is it a job? Yeah. Does it have hard parts about it? Does it suck sometimes? Yeah. Do I get stuck on bugs and issues that suck? Yeah. Do I have to, deal with stuff? Yeah. It's tough. But yeah. I love it though because it's impact. Cause I had jobs before where it just wasn't as much impact. Like you're working on stuff, but like not many people see it. Like with this, I get to talk to my family and friends. And they're like, "Oh, you work on that?" Like that's the reward I get when I see people using my stuff that I'm coding. Like that's when it's like, okay. It's like, okay. It's like you a musician and you see people. You go down the street and you see somebody listen to your song. Like that's gotta be a good feeling. Like without you prompting them to listen to it. I know it's a little different with code and stuff, but it's like they're using the stuff that I work on and it's working and it's solving some kind of problem for them. And that's what else would you want to do with code, is you want to solve some sort of problem. And yeah, I also build like my own mobile apps on the side. I do like software development on the side too, like freelancing, and I have my own apps that we put out on the App Store. So do my own thing on the side too. So kind of living the best of both worlds to a degree right now. Byron said he's been through Apple, Microsoft, Uber, Zillow, MasterCard, Bloomberg. These problems are no joke. Yeah, so he's been through some big tech companies, man, interviews, man. And they can be tough, man, because they're going to add a little spin on it a lot of times. And those long problems, man, those like 45-minute problems, they are tough, man. Like, ooh. Like some of them, they get on. One dude, he got on the interview and he just went right in. Because he knew. He was like, dude, you're going to need this whole time, man. Like, we don't need to talk. We don't need to go through no kind of introductions. The dude was just like, hey, I'm so-and-so. This the problem, dude. Like, we ain't got nothing to talk about. Like, that's it. So, yeah, them problems can be crazy. Because I went through Airbnb, Amazon, Microsoft. Shoot, what other big companies? Square. I guess it's like Block. I can't remember the name of the company. Like the one that owns like Cash App and all that stuff. Went through them. Did I do Uber? I think I did Uber. Or maybe I didn't get far in the process on Uber. But yeah, it was a lot of different tech companies that I did at the time as well. I never did. But see, I never done. Zillow. I think I did Zillow too. But I never done Apple. That's actually would be like probably like a dream job to work at Apple. But yeah, I don't know many people that work. I think I know one person that works that I used to work with. But I don't know much about it. I don't even know how to get an interview there. Every time I try to get an interview there, I can't get one. This is LeetCode. Yes, this is LeetCode. If you're not gonna code in if you're not going to code in PHP, then what good are you? Yeah. Hey man, I ain't no PHP hater, man. I love PHP. I use PHP a lot early in my career. Is this Python? No, this is JavaScript. Are you employed? Do you love your job? Coding for the first time ever. I'm doing Python. That's all I know. Hey, that's good, man. Hey, Python is a great language to start with, man. Great language to start with. JavaScript is too, but Python is one of them ones. It's got a lot of AI applications, so it's really a good place to start. You'll be able to shift to other languages for sure. What site is this? This is LeetCode.com. LeetCode, LeetCode.com. LeetCode.com, where you can do coding challenges. Definitely, I don't know if it says the title. Yeah, up here, LeetCode.com. Yep. So I've been finished the problem probably like 30 minutes ago. I'm just answering questions on here. So you want numbers less than 9 to appear and what negative numbers to return from what I'm reading. Basically, I'm just adding a number. The problem is just to add 1 to a number that is spread out as, well, this isn't right, but like a number that is spread out over an integer array. So each digit of this, so if it's 100, each digit of the number is in an integer array from left to right. So that was the problem I did like 30 minutes ago. I'm just answering random questions now. If people are complaining about LeetCode problems, wait till you get experience and have to do system design. Yeah. So yeah, like some of those interviews, they're long interviews. They have rounds, and they're long interviews, and you might have 2 coding rounds where you got to do LeetCode problems, and you have a system design round where you actually have to design a system. They give you the requirements. They give you some constraints. They give you some constraints, and you got to design a system. You got to tell them how the scale is going to be. You got to ask questions to them like, hey, what kind of scale are we dealing with? And you have to build a solution that can cover the requirements and cover the users, the scale that system is going to have to undertake. And you're going to have to understand how to design a system and architect the system in a way that can handle the requirements and the scale, the users, the traffic that system needs to take. So yeah, man, you have to learn about, you got to know how you have to know how the front end, you have to know the difference between the front end and the back end. You have to know the difference between the client in the server. You need to know, like on the back end side, you need to know how to build back end infrastructure, how to horizontally scale, how to vertically scale servers, how to cache, how caching works in order to when jobs are like resource intensive work that a backend system has to do. You may need to learn caching systems like Redis or Memcache. You need to learn how databases work and how to replicate databases and how to scale them. Like, it's just so many pieces, man. You need to learn probably data streaming. For a lot of times they want you to kind of know how that works in order to build a system that can have data flowing through it, and a system that can respond to different events, like event streaming. So it's just so many pieces to system design, man. It's a whole nother world after you learn how to code. So I'm glad you mentioned that. What's the longest code you ever made? The longest code I ever made? Oh, shoot, man. I don't know, man. Like, at work, it's probably at work because I've been at my job for a long time. So, man, shoot. I mean, thousands of lines of code. I'd probably say thousands. Maybe 10,000. Maybe I've hit 10,000 in a repository before. I mean, how much, like, if you're saying one unit of code, I would say that it's a repository of code, like it's a component or a project. I probably hit 10,000 lines of code in somewhere. I can't say I hit more than that in one repository, because I think once a repository grows so large, you start to split it off. So I may not even hit 10,000 in one repository before. So, like, I don't think it's about like the length of how much code I wrote. It's probably, millions of lines at this point. I don't know, over my course of my career. But, when you architect, when you divide how your code is stored in source control, you probably divide it up in a way to where each piece is small, so relatively. You want to write as least code as possible. That's the goal. It's not about the number of lines, like somebody said here, TBJ, or not TBJ, Kurt. Definitely AI combo. I need to use that for the next stream. Photo Logic. Oh yeah, I'm gonna use OBS. Yeah, OBS and Restream is what I'm using to stream across all platforms. So if you want to switch to another platform, definitely do that. Please scroll the code screen from top to bottom. Yeah. Oh yeah, you might want to see. Yeah. Sorry. Let me delete some of this out of here, so then you can kind of see. I'll just delete this out since I already did this problem. So you can see that it's not much code. It's an easy problem. It's not much code. But yeah. So yeah, I think why don't you put the first if condition outside the for loop? Because I need it inside the for loop, because I'm actually, if every number is 9, let's say I got a list of digits with every number is 9, I actually have to keep asking if every number is 9 or not. Because if the number is 9, then I need to set it to 0 and carry the 1 and come back in here, and I may add 1 again. Or if it's a 9 again, then I need to put another 0 and carry the 1 again. And then I come finally till I see a number that's less than 9, I can add the 1 to it. And so really, I thought you were going to ask about this. Like, I really don't need this here. I don't need that else. And the reason I don't need that else there is because of this. So if I go into here, whenever I go into here, I'm done. I return. And so I actually won't hit this. So usually I'm going to skip this if I get to this. I really didn't need that extra. But I put that there because it just helps logically show what I'm doing. But like, if I was in an interview, I'd probably write this, and then I'd probably just like at the end, just once I know the interviewer kind of understands it, I'd probably like optimize and get rid of it. Maybe I would just leave it there. Because in an interview, you kind of want the interviewer to know what's going on. And so you may choose to write a code a little bit more verbose and unnecessary in order to kind of, explain it or be able to visualize it better. Oh, dang, Kenneth, he might have jumped off, but Kenneth was on YouTube, watching me on YouTube, man. That's my boy. I hope I see him at Render 2. Yeah, if you're still on here, man, appreciate you joining. Yeah, I didn't see your condition until you scroll. Okay, TBJ. Appreciate it. Appreciate the question though, man. Yeah, I needed to scroll it up for everybody, for you to see. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think I'm probably about to end it now. I've been on here 2 hours at this point, so I did the problem probably in the first 40 minutes maybe, and so I think I've just been answering questions for another hour or so. So I really appreciate everybody joining. Please follow me on all channels wherever you're watching from. Follow each other. Like if you see each other, somebody that makes sense to you to follow and connect with, please do that as well. Like, want to build a community. I'm just starting these streams out. This is probably about my 3rd week. I've been doing the streams for a couple years, but I've just been so inconsistent, man. So this the 3rd week I done it. I probably never done it 3 weeks in a row. So I'm trying to get consistent when streaming. I post content on my channels as much as I can. I'm trying to get to daily, but I'm trying to just build a community, build a following, help people. That's really my main goal. I've been doing it for a couple years now, so I've gotten a lot of great feedback from helping people. But I'm just trying to build it up, and you know how it goes. So yeah, follow me on different channels. DM me if you have more questions that I missed or couldn't answer. Just DM me. Like, I answer all DMs that I get. I give advice. I don't do any like tutoring. I just don't have time with my main job and my side stuff that I do. I just don't have to, and my social media content, streaming and making content. I don't have time to do any deep mentoring. But if you ask me questions, I will eventually get back to you in the DMs, like, for sure. And if you got something to tell me, like, I need help too sometime. Like, shoot, let me know, if you got like meme or something to send me, or something funny or something informational to send me, you want to get my take on it, or you want to just show me something that doesn't exist that I didn't know about, please, man, just DM me. Like, I just like to talk about this stuff, and it's deeply integrated in my life. And so I have fun with it, but I'm starting to lose my voice because I've been talking for 2 hours straight. I don't know how these streamer people do it, man. I don't know if they build some kind of like Casanat and all these folks that stream for like 10 hours. I don't know how they do it, man. I really don't. Like, once I get to about an hour and a half, my voice is just through. So I don't know how they do that. Do you code in Python? No, I don't code in Python. I usually use JavaScript. I'm learning CSS and HTML. Yeah, I work at a company. I'm a professional software developer. So yeah, I definitely do coding every day. I also code at night or on my own time as well, doing my own apps and services and stuff. Yeah, I've been coding for like 10 years now. I've been coding a professional job for 10 years. I started college probably like 15 years ago at this point. Or shoot, was it 15? Dang, it was even longer than 15. I'm old, man. Yeah, it was longer than 15. I've actually been coding professionally for 12 years. I keep saying 10 because it's like a round number, but I think it's 12 years actually. So yeah, anyway, thanks for those questions. I'm not going, somebody dropped the company in the chat. I'm just going to leave it there. I work for a chat company that builds chat for other companies. One of those companies. So I'll just leave it there. I don't want to keep, it's some weird stuff happen with people on social media and their jobs. So any of my thoughts are my own. So I don't even want to mention the company, but I will say what type of the tech industry that I'm working in. And if you look up like chat companies, you'll probably find the biggest one. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end it there. Yeah, please follow me, follow each other. I appreciate you guys. Anybody that joined, even on the channels where it's like one person that joined, I don't care. I'm on all these different channels. I think, I'm thankful for it. I'm gonna just keep doing these streams until it builds up, and hopefully we get some good streams out of it. Hopefully it helps some people. Hopefully I help myself. And yeah, please connect with me in any way you see fit. And I appreciate y'all. I hope